1600 by 1200, 1.9 megapixels of retro awesomeness in the 4:3 aspect ratio. To many these are just a bunch of numbers, but to us they have a very special meaning and take us back in time. It takes us back to a time when we played games at 1024 by 768 on a typical 17-inch CRT monitor, because that's all we could afford. Gaming at 1600 by 1200 represents the ultimate in graphical fidelity, a resolution that is on the same level as Full HD. Console manufacturers take note, PC gamers enjoyed 1200p and 60 FPS back in 2000. Many of us had an overclocked Celeron, maybe a Voodoo 3 or a River TNT 2, but all of us dreamt of owning a fast Pentium 3 or Athlon with a Voodoo 5 or GeForce 256 DDR, as well as a monster 21-inch CRT monitor. In this video we will look at why I like 1600 by 1200 so much, check out old and new monitor options, talk about potential challenges, and also learn why 1600 by 1200 is the perfect resolution for the DOSBox emulator. Enjoy this video. (1600 by 1200 is the highest resolution that most older games support out of the box. Compatibility is therefore excellent. There are even DOS games that support this resolution, so do most Windows 98 and Windows XP games. Older games can often be modified to support modern widescreen resolutions, but playing at 1600 by 1200 just feels very special to me. Visualizing myself back in 2000 playing Unreal on my dream gaming PC worth several thousands of dollars, something out of reach back in the day. (1600 by 1200 gives you an extremely sharp and detailed image, but also means you do not have to add custom resolutions, apply widescreen patches, or put up with stretched graphics, an issue with many older games. Another benefit is a perfect image with the DOSBox emulator when playing old VGA games that run at 320 by 200 resolution. I will explain this in more detail towards the end of this video. If you want to experience 1600 by 1200 retro gaming, you need to have a compatible monitor. There are lots of options, second-hand but also brand new. The first choice would be a high-end CRT monitor. You want to look for a 21-inch model, and there are many brands, but you will definitely have to invest some time hunting one down. These monitors are also very large, heavy, might suffer from age-related issues, and don't always have a sharp image at 1600 by 1200. Also check the refresh rate. You want to have at least 85 Hz to avoid screen flickering. Another option are 20-inch LCD monitors. They can be purchased quite easily. A lot of recycling companies continue to sell them on eBay, for example. Because of their age, the panels are a little bit older, so the colors will not be as nice as current monitors, and the panels also are slow, so you might get some ghosting in fast-paced games. One more option, and that's what I'm using, is going for a modern monitor with a 1920 by 1200 resolution in the 16 by 10 aspect ratio. These monitors can be purchased second-hand on eBay, for example, but companies such as Dell or HP are still selling them new. With such a monitor, you will have some black bars on the left and right side when you play at 1600 by 1200, but it's something you quickly get used to. You can still use the larger widescreen resolution on the desktop and with your Windows applications. The first challenge is that you will need decent hardware that is fast enough to give you smooth gameplay at that resolution. Compared to gaming at 1024x768, a graphics card that is around 2.5 times as powerful is needed to render the same amount of frames per second. For glide games, that means that a Voodoo 3 is just not going to cut it anymore, and you will have to get a Voodoo 5, which is not going to be cheap. For Direct 3D and OpenGL games, finding a powerful graphics card is not an issue. What card you need depends on the game you want to play. A good starting point for Windows 98 gaming is a GeForce 2 or a Radeon 7500. For Windows XP gaming, early games run well on a GeForce 4 Ti or Radeon 9700, but for later games you might want to get a GeForce 7 or a Radeon X1800. Another challenge is that older games usually do not scale the heads-up display, meaning that graphical elements such as points, lives, maps, time, or text in menus appear quite small. There's usually not much you can do about this. You might have to sit a little bit closer to the monitor. And finally, DOS games are displayed at a 70 Hz refresh rate. While all the monitors will display DOS games, not all of them will actually display them at 70 Hz, which can be an issue with smooth scrolling games. I've done a bit of research and TN panels will display the 70 Hz correctly, but IPS panels will not, resulting in a jerky or stuttery scrolling. The datasheets and specifications don't really help. The monitor might accept a 70 Hz signal, but this does not mean that it will actually display the image at 70 Hz. You have to be really careful, and the only way to find out is to actually test a DOS game on that monitor. So I recommend you stick with a TN panel. You're more or less guaranteed that it will display the 70 Hz in DOS correctly. Most old DOS games, such as Monkey Island or Wing Commander, use a resolution of 320x200. On a CRT monitor, this works great. The pixels end up slightly taller than they are wide. They are non-square pixels. LCD monitors, however, have square pixels, so trying to display non-square pixels is like trying to fit a square into a circle. Software emulators try to deal with this by using pixels of different sizes or by blurring them out. Neither solution looks great if you know what to look for. Here we've got a screenshot of DOSBox running Wing Commander on a typical Full HD monitor. You can see that some pixels have different dimensions compared to the others. And here is where the 1600x1200 resolution comes in really handy. It is an integer multiple of 320x200. 320 times 5 equals 1600 and 200 times 6 equals 1200. After configuring DOSBox with the appropriate settings, you can get a perfect DOS image with all pixels having the same dimensions, slightly taller than they are wide, exactly like they appear on a CRT monitor. Here we've got Wing Commander on a 1920x1200 monitor at 1600x1200 resolution. Doesn't it look beautiful? And that's it for this video. I hope you found it interesting and you're gonna go out and grab a 1600x1200 monitor. If you have any questions, please leave comments down below. Always eager to hear from you.